Hi, welcome to Women's Radio 2. I'm Pat Barrett, and I have a very special guest today. She's not been with us before, but she's been part of us for a very, very long time. She's been a very long-term AudioAcrobat user. Of course, that's the tool that we created after we created Women's Radio in order to give primarily women an opportunity to both record and produce streaming. At the time, there was nothing online. Well, I think there was one other person that preceded us. And this wonderful lady has been with us a good part of our history. Her name is Susan Ortola, and I introduce her to you now, and we're going to have a great conversation about what she does.
Thank you, Pat. Yeah, I'm Susan Ortola. I'm an intuitive relationship and marriage coach. And I just have to say, I'm excited to have been part of the AudioAcrobat history for sure.
Well, we're real happy to have you, and especially over such a long, long time. And now we're just actually getting to know each other for the first time.
We are.
But we have lots and lots of coaches that use that tool for really good reasons. But today we're going to focus on what you do. So what is it that you do? What is your secret sauce? What is it that your path, what you do that is so effective?
Well, first of all, we know that the divorce rates, right? The divorce rate statistics are pretty bad. And divorce has been so normalized that married couples, and that's what who I specialize in working with, they'll either stay together for the wrong reasons or they'll go the divorce route. But trying to repair their marriage is a very difficult thing. Sadly, traditional therapy has a very low success rate. And so part of what I get to do as a credentialed marriage coach is expand. And by expanding, I don't have to follow the same regulations that a traditional therapist does, but I do adhere to the International Coach Federation. And so kind of the biggest thing that couples get wrong, I'm going to start with that, is that they try to fix everything on the outside. They'll try to just get better communication skills. They'll try to go on date nights so that they can just reconnect. They'll try to do anything that is external. And it's like pouring sugar over, I'm not even going to say the word. The real secret is what's happening internally for both partners, and everybody misses it because the way we get into arguments and the reason we get into fights or disconnect or even get triggered is because of what lives inside of us, what beliefs, what early childhood programming. It all got programmed when we were so young. It's like we were these little computers and we got software installed and we began to see the world in a very particular way. So the lens through which we see the world comes with us. Some things don't. Some things, if Billy pushed you down on the playground when you were 6 and you forgot all about it, that probably didn't come with you. But a lot of stuff comes with us, and then we take it right into relationships and right into a marriage. And
I agree.
suddenly we're wondering why the bickering starts to happen, or the beautiful wedding day that we had, becomes a cracked foundation a few years later. So that is the secret sauce. And there are so many nuances. If you think of the movie Titanic, right? They saw the tip of the iceberg.
Really.
And
Yeah.
and that got them into trouble because they didn't know what was living underneath.
Right.
And that's what ended up, killing so many people and had the ship sink. And that's what happens to married couples. They only look at what's on the tip of the iceberg, try to fix it, and they forget that there's this entire world living underneath that actually is creating the problems that they're having.
Well, how do you help them get to the starting point, so to speak, so that
Well,
they can recognize that?
I always start with an outcome. And it's so important to have an outcome or an intention rather than just winging it and saying, oh, yeah, we've got this here, this here, this here. So we always want to start with an outcome because we want to have a destination in terms of where we want to get to. And so I always start with that so we know the roadmap we want to build. So part of the roadmap is digging into the recognition of some of the stories, beliefs that we carry that we can become aware of. Now, do we have to be aware of everything? No, we can't. We're not going to remember everything that's ever happened to us. And we're not going to remember every piece of story or belief or programming that we have. We just know sometimes we're upset. And we don't have to even know why in order to be able to clear what's living in there and be free of it. And so I
That's
teach,
good to know.
yeah, I teach techniques and processes that help people literally clear all of that out so
So
that
let
they,
me ask you, what is the number one issue, so to speak, that you see over and over and over again that maybe we should all take a look at? Because the things that you're going to tell us, I'm sure, whether we're married or single at this point, we need
yeah,
to look at
yeah, because this could
because we need to
impact
be free.
career and other things. The number one story I'll say is I'm not good enough or I'm not something enough. That's the biggest. And a lot of people speak from there and they don't even realize that's what's getting triggered. It's not who did the dishes or who didn't do the dishes.
Or who
It's
didn't take the garbage out.
exactly, it's the feeling, well, he said he would do the dishes and he didn't. So what's really being triggered is I don't matter. And that is a belief that had nothing to do with him or her. It's a belief that got programmed a long time ago.
Right. So what do you do?
So again, there are techniques, and that's part of my secret sauce for the clients who decide to work with me. But there are techniques and there are ways to clear out that old energy because all things that we carry in us, it's all energy, belief
You're so
system.
right.
It's all things that are, if I'm going to take a pen, okay? And so notice that this pen really is not me. It's not a part of me. It's something I'm holding. But what we do is we start squeezing, and this is the pain that we carry. But over time, it gets normalized. We think, oh, this is just the way it is. And we just walk around, and then something gets triggered, and then the pain starts to rattle, and we feel bad. And so
Mhm.
we respond and we react from that bad feeling. But what we do with the techniques I have is we first realize the pen is not who we are. It's not even a part of us. And we just learn how to do that and drop it. And sure, we have layers of what seems like the same thing, and we just keep moving through them.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think that the time we've spent already has been extremely worthwhile. If each of us could look inside and figure out at least one thing
Yeah.
that is really not us, that causes us a problem that we could let go of.
Absolutely. And, certainly there's wisdom in learning how to let go. And again, there's some great techniques out there. I really saved that because I've been, I paid for the training to be able to be a practitioner with some of these techniques so that I do keep them close to the best, so that I share them with the couples that I work with so that they can feel lighter and ultimately wonder why they feel so good. And then where they respond from is very different because then they can learn the skills they need to communicate better. And that's the next thing that becomes an issue is communication because
Well,
we do,
I
you know,
totally agree with that.
yeah. And it is cliche to say, oh, communication, blah, 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 but it is true.
It
And
is.
when we communicate, if we have these beliefs sitting in us and this programming, we're communicating from a pretty dark place. But if we're free of them or reduced, then the communication skills will actually sink in, take hold, and be able to be used in the marriage really successfully.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, is there one thing that you want to make sure that everybody takes away from our conversation?
Yeah, it's not as hard as people think it is, but it is taking a look in a place that most people are not looking. So check to see what you think is living inside of you. What beliefs do you have? And know that the problems that you're having stem from there. It's not about the other person. Sure, there are things where it's like if you get into abuse and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that's not something that I work with, or addiction. Those are things for other practitioners, but all the other things can be solved, healed, from really taking a deeper dive internally and looking at what you have going on. How you respond to the issue is actually the issue, not what's being presented.
That's
So that's all
very well
I'm dealing
said.
with.
Well, how can people find you, get in touch, etc.?
Yeah. Well, I have a website, of course, Susan at susanortolano.com. And it will kind of share what, what I do. And then I really encourage people or invite couples to book what I call a free discovery call. This is an opportunity for us to get to know each other and see if working together is a fit.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been enlightening, and I'm so happy that you would take some time and be with us and
Thanks, Pat.
share your long, long history and all your good information with our audience. Our audience is actually really into relationships. So
I think
I'm sure
everybody is, right? We're not here to be on the island of, aloneness. And I know you've had a situation that is a very difficult one because, it's just going to happen for everybody. We're not here forever. But while we are here and while we can create beautiful relationships, that is something that I think everybody should
amen.
opportunity to be.
Use your time well.
Yes.
And if you got issues, that's your cue to work it out inside
While you still can, while
while
both
you can.
still here. Yeah.
And it pays dividends no matter what to get
So,
free.
yeah.
So,
Well,
well,
thank you.
thank you for being my guest and sharing so graciously, and the very, very best in all of your work and to all the people that you serve. Thank you, Susan.